Hello, and welcome to Tales from Al's D&D campaign. No, it doesn't sound like something you've seen before. It doesn't sound like somebody else has done this already and had way much more time and resources and talent to put into it. No, it doesn't sound like that. Stop it. This orange glob before you is totally not a non-copyright infringing picture that I got off of Google in order to represent the territory that I am trying to tell you about. I am totally not losing my mind. Thank you for asking. Okay, so real quick, there's some things I gotta tell you about in order for the story I'm going to tell you to make any damn sense. So first, this land sucks. Okay? This land sucks. The people suck. Everything sucks. Everything above this land is frozen. Alright? Alright? Everything till right about here is a desert. And like right along here, more or less, everything is wet. It's a blasted, dirty swampland, and nobody likes it, and nobody wants to be here. Well, hey, that doesn't sound so bad, because, they've still got that big patch in the middle there. Wrong! Wrong! This place was blasted out, windswept, no trees, no water, no grass, no nothing. Just hard, scrabble, rocky material that no one ever wanted to live on ever. Like I said, this whole place sucks. But there was one place, even in this area, where life was good, okay? And that was right here. Okay? That was the one good place on the whole darn continent. And guess what? It was run by trolls. And nobody liked that. Not even dog meat. So what did everybody do? Well, everybody from here and here and, well, everywhere else said, hey, you've got the only good piece of land in the whole damn world, and we're going to take it from you. And of course, the trolls, they didn't like that. So they left. The trolls moved from here to here. Well, technically, it's more like here. No, that's still not right. More like here. Okay? So, we're up here in the cold section. And here in the cold section lived a lot of can tell I didn't learn to spell in preparation for this video. Vikings. That's probably not how you spell it. I don't care. But here lived a lot of Vikings. And one day, there was a dude, my highly sophisticated artist rendition, my highly sophisticated rendition of a Viking dude. See? Viking, dude, Viking. Get it? Okay, good. And the gods went up to him and said, "You know what? We want to make you king." And the guy said, "Cool. How do I do that?" And they said, "Kill all the trolls." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'll do that." And then he did. And suddenly, there were no trolls. And people said, "Well, hey, what are we going to call this place? This new kingdom that you founded?" And he's like, I don't know. Let's call it Trolladoth. Okay? And Trolladoth means where the trolls died. And everyone was like, "Okay, we'll call it that." So one day, the gods are looking at this guy and they're like, "Hey, what do you want in the world more than anything else?" And he looked up at them and said, "I want a wife." And the god said, "Okay." But they didn't just, pick some chick out of the local tavern. No. They got him a Valkyrie. Because, he was such a big, strong, brave warrior, he deserved, or at least they thought he deserved, the best a guy could get. And the best a person could get was a Valkyrie, right? Well, he hooked up with the Valkyrie. It's like, "Sup, the gods say that you're my wife, which means you're the queen now." And she's like, "Well, if that's what the gods decree, I guess." And so she became the queen. And these two had like a bunch of freaking kids. Except for one thing. After a while, it took a minute, but after a while, everybody realized that the king was kind of a douchebag. That's not how you spell it, but you get my point. But, he was married to a Valkyrie, and he was the king, and nobody kind of messed with him, because, he's a douchebag, but he's still the king. Okay, so, one day, everybody got tired of him, and we don't really know what happened to him, okay? In short, Mr. King of the Douchebag Guys, he's not here anymore. And, well, he's not here anymore. And that means the Valkyrie lady was the queen. And the queen had her sets of heirs, which was this guy, this girl, and this guy. Well, they were still, like, her kids, because, that's how being a parent worked. But the guys, especially, reminded everybody of King of the Douchebags. So what they did was they completely cut men out of the inheritance because they didn't want anybody to reign like old King Douchebag had. So many years later, the Valkyrie dies or returns to the heavens. We're not entirely sure. So we have King Douchebag and Valkyrie Queen. King. Oh, I hate it when my tools don't cooperate. King Douchebag. Valkyrie Queen. And they have a son, a daughter, and a son. Right? But nobody likes the king, and nobody likes the sons. Because after what happened with King Douchebag, they don't want any more King Douchebags. So the daughters are the only ones that ever inherit the throne. Mostly because the Valkyrie was the queen, and the Valkyrie was the one with the actual link to being a god. Well, being godlike, in the least. So from then on, and on, and on, and on, only women were presumed to be good at anything. And, like, the only thing that these people up here in this cold part of the world ever needed men for was making more people. But that's just up here, though. Like, eventually there was a little bit of a war, and, like, everybody, mostly the men, got really tired of being crapped on all the time because one douchebag had to go and ruin everything for them. But, that's not important to our story. Okay, so Trollodoth, very cold. And then there's, like, this part of everything. And that's wet, right? So here in the wet part, people were kind of stupid. And it's like, they weren't that dumb, but most people from the rest of the world thought they were pretty dumb. So, like, what do you do when you're a person who has that? Well, first of all, if people think you're even slightly smarter, they beat the tar out of you. So there was a guy who was born, oh, let's say, somewhere right around here, maybe. He's like, well, everyone here thinks I'm everyone here is stupid, and thinks I should be stupid. So, I don't like that. And I'm going to go where I am welcome. So he travels far to the west. Oh, this area here, this area is considered the southern swamps. Now, technically, it's not actually southern, because, north, east, south, west, right? Technically, this isn't the north. Technically, this area is considered the east, because, it's down, but people call it the south anyway. But anyway, he's like, people here just call me stupid all the time, and I get beaten up and all that. So I'm gonna learn magic, and I'm gonna prove how smart and successful I am by going west. And he goes west, and boy, it does not go well. And it does not go well at all, and he just gets picked on and beaten up and everything else. And eventually he goes so far west that there's no land left. Well, I mean, well, what are you gonna do? This is well past the point of civilization. Like, the actual place where it's comfortable to live, you passed that already. So what else is he gonna do? But he's gonna go straight up. And he gets to right about here. And as you can see, this is just inside of but not technically, you know, too close to this Trollodoth land, right? So, like, they've still got the idea that all men are dumb and all men are douchebags, and the only thing men are good for is making more people, which we kind of don't need because that would mean more men, and men are stupid, and we don't need any more of those anymore, right? So, now that that backstory is complete, allow me to actually introduce you to the plot of the game. Okay? So, in this little town here, there's a longhouse. And this longhouse is owned by, like, a coven of barbarians. And, like, barbarianism technically isn't how they run things, but, desperate times call for desperate measures, and, like, all men are good for is being stupid and killing things. So they get sent off to go kill things, and they never come back. So there are 5 barbarians who take 5 apprentices. And these barbarians patrol the area around this little town, and they go and they take care of business every day and all that stuff. But then the master barbarians get pulled away into a portal, right? Okay, so this portal has writing on it. But it's like weird writing. It's like worse than my handwriting, weird writing. And like no one knows what it is, and no one knows what it does. But they know if this portal is active, that's a bad thing. So the master barbarians from this longhouse decide, hey, we're going to go in here. You, our five apprentices, need to stay out here and do what you can do in order to protect the village. We will go see what's going on the other end of this portal. And, like, they went into the portal and it broke. And a couple days go by, a couple weeks go by, a couple months go by, and nobody knows what happened to the master barbarians that trained these five apprentices. Well, just when things were starting to go back to normal and everybody was just kind of starting to forget about the barbarian masters that went off into the portal, this strange man comes into town, and of course, he's not like the men they have up here. He claims he's smart. We all know that's a goddamn lie, now isn't it? And he claims he knows magic. And it's like, well, that's just stupid. Because like, magic is stupid. We don't need magic down here. We've got the blessing of the gods. They give us... They have blessed us with the strength of our own blood. And it's like, inside me runs the blood of kings and gods. We need not your magic, because we have our own strength. And he's like, well, fine, screw you too then. But then he gets into a fight with one of these barbarians. Oh, by the way, all the barbarians are chicks. And they're all chicks because everybody hates men because men are stupid and douchebags. So they're like, we don't want your kind around here. It'd be great if I actually could draw. And there's my crude female symbol. And so, like, they have a Mexican standoff in the middle of the town. Except in this version of the world, technically the Mexicans live on the other side of the world. They have a Mexican standoff in town. It's like, we don't need your kind. And he's like, oh yeah? And they're like, yeah! And he's like, oh yeah? And they're like, yeah! And then the leader, which I guess is this one because I gave her big hair by accident. The leader charges at him. He's like, I'll fix your little red wagon and paint it a different color! And he's like, lol. Okay. And then throws a fireball at her. Boom! Now, of course, this person, this person's kind of on fire right now. And then the other four are looking at each other like, well, she attacked him first, but technically he's a guy, and like all guys are douchebags and evil, so technically it's his fault that he attacked her, even though she attacked him first, because men are douchebags, right? So then they all decide they're gonna kick his ass. And then the guy's like, no, screw you, screw this. I'm tired of everybody trying to kick my ass just because I'm different. So what he does is he calls down a big lightning bolt. And this lightning bolt comes down from the sky and just blows everything up. Like, yes, I know. My epic sound effects budget is like all epics and sound effectsy. I know. But like in the confusion, he ends up like burning down some buildings, and then like everybody's like, "Oh, you did it now! Oh!" So like all five of the barbarian chicks decide they're gonna rush him at the same time. That wasn't what you think it was. And decide they're all gonna rush him at the same time. And he's like, "Oh, shit." And he pops like a low level spell in order to. Well, he pops a bunch of low level spells to like confuse everybody so that he can run. And he's like, "Nope, I'm out. Screw this. Nope, I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid at all. But especially not for this." And he like runs back out of the town. So at this point, the barbarian women are like, "Cool, we got rid of him. We ain't gonna be hearing from him no more. No, that's not. Yeah, we showed him what and all that. But meanwhile, let me just try to fix this lady's hair. Apparently, I take such pride in my artwork. So like this one's the leader because I said so apparently. But then later the soothsayer lady, like her master was like the rune magician and like knew how to read ancient words and cast spells upon people's armor and weapons in order to give them extra strength and supernatural powers because that was allowed. You know, you can have strong magical weapons. You just can't use magic yourself because it's okay to have magic tools, just not magic powers. But like this lady sort of kind of taught this one how to do like the rune magics and whatnot, and every now and then she'll have a premonition. And her premonition says that the little gate or portal or whatever it is that their masters went into, I suppose technically mistresses, because, you know, they're all women, because men are douchebags and hate everything. This portal is going to start going haywire, and like tons of evil and monsters are going to start coming out, and destroy everything. And she's like, "Oh no, that's terrible. How do we stop that?" And like she tells everybody else, and it's like, maybe we should destroy the portal. So they try to destroy the portal. And the portal does not like that very much. And the portal, like, really, really badly hurts this one. Like, technically, she's not dead, but she's not really in the story anymore from this point on. So, like, there's one less hardcore barbarian chick in the group now. So they're like, well, damn, that sucks. And then they start talking to each other like, well, we can't destroy the portal. How are we supposed to get rid of it? But now the portal is acting all crazy and it's unleashing, like, magical creatures that are only kind of there, like little wispy things that are like made entirely of magical energy. But they hate people. They hate people a lot. And like there's nothing they can do now because they broke the portal and all this magical energy is leaking out of it. So they're like, what should we do? Well, we should pray. We should pray to the gods and they will give us an answer. Because we totally don't need any outside help. But in this case, this is an emergency. We'll ask for help from the gods. And suddenly, the rune caster starts having weird dreams about dragons. And every time she has dreams about dragons, they're not speaking Dothian. They're not speaking common. They're not speaking English. They're speaking in dragon. Which, people don't speak dragon generally. So, the question is, where do you go to find someone who speaks dragon? And they go all about the town, and like everybody in town's like, nope, I don't know nothing about no dragon. Stop asking me. So they go in and out all over town, and they pray to the gods, and they keep having the rune caster keeps having dreams, and eventually, just as luck would have it, the magician dude shows up again. And well, now the leader chick and the rune chick are off doing something else. So we have this chick who's a druid. And we have this other chick here. And I think she's supposed to be an elementalist or something. I don't remember. But like, he's wandering around town because he got lost, okay? This guy, once they ran him out of town, he's like, nope. And he noped it on back. And he noped it on down. And he noped all over the place. And like he somehow, unfortunately, all crazy like, ended up exactly back where he started. Okay? And he's like, oh, what a nice town. Maybe the people here can help me find food. Because, I'm a wizard. I'm not good at that whole fending for myself out in the wild thing. Besides, I'm cold, I'm hungry, and, I need food and I need a place to stay. He doesn't know that this is the same town he just got ran out of. It's been maybe a week. Well, let's face it, for a smart guy, he's kind of dumb. So he walks up to the hall like, hey, this looks like the biggest and most important building in town. I'll go ask what's up over there. And he goes in the hall and nobody's home, and it's like, huh, well, this is the biggest, largest place in town. Why is there no one here? What are they all doing? So he tries to go into town, and of course, many of the town people are scared of him because, you see people throwing lightning bolts and fireballs all over the place. You tend to get scared of him. So nobody will talk to him. He walks down the street, and everybody runs from him, and they all close up their doors, and he walks through, and the more he walks, the less people there are, and eventually he's standing there in the middle of an empty town when Little Miss Elementalist shows up, and she's like, hey, what are you doing back in town? And he's like, what do you mean back in town? I've never been here before in my life. And she's like, yes, you have. You were here, like, last week. And he's like, this is that place? And she's like, yeah, are you stupid? And he's like, well, apparently I am. Look, I'm starving and I'm lost, and I'm trying to find a way to a place where I can be who I am and not get punished for it. And she's like, well, why don't you go home? And he's like, the reason I left home is because those people hate me for what I am and who I am. And so these two talk for a bit, and they're like, well, and she's like, well, you're a person in need, and obviously you're kind of strong. Like, as long as you promise not to blow anyone up. No promises. I guess we can give you some food and point you in the direction of the next town. Let me go in the hall and take care of that for you, right? You stay out here. So he stays out there, and, he has a seat, and, like, he's minding his own business. When the druid pops up, okay? It turns out that the druid has been seeking help from the animal spirits. And the druid happens to pop up in wolf form. Yeah, that's my excuse for a wolf. Deal with it. And the druid pops up in wolf form. And of course, she can't talk because, she's a wolf. And the wolf's like, oh no, it's this jackass again. I'm gonna kill him. So she starts snarling and growling and charges at the guy. The guy's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, and shoots a fireball at her. And, like, the fireball completely just one shots this wolf chick, right? Just blam. And of course, if you've been transformed, when you reach, like, close to death, you turn back into your real form. So now, the druid is sitting there, smoldering a bit, and unconscious. And the dude's like, oh crap, I didn't know you were human. So he like pats her down and like tries to have her not be on fire, picks her up, or like halfway picks her up because you know he's a wizard. He's not that strong. But like halfway picks her up and drags her into the hall. And like when he opens the door to the hall, like everything goes nuts. And the elementalist shows up out of nowhere and he's like, I told you not to come in here. And then he shows her the body of the druid, and it really looks like she's dead. Cause you know, that's what happens when you run head first into a fireball. Right? And the elementalist is like, oh my god, what did you do? It's like, I didn't do anything. I was minding my own business and a wolf came out of the woods and tried to bite me. It's like, well, you should know that that wolf was a person. And he's like, how would I know that wolf was a person? It was a wolf. And so they get into a fight. And now she starts casting elemental spells. And he starts casting elemental spells. And suddenly the whole place inside it gets trashed. But it's about this time that the druid starts recovering. And the druid gets up and she's like, oh, are we kicking his butt? Okay, let's kick his butt. So now the druid is going at him with like melee weapons while the elementalist is backing her up with like ice in particular because, you know, it's cold. Because everything here is cold and it's a horrible place to live because it's cold. So they keep fighting him, and they fight him all the way out of the hall, and all the way out to the edge of the town, where the portal is. And of course, the portal is still spewing out energies, right? Yeah, and they still got the little energy wispy guys that hate people running around. And it's like right when he shows up again, the portal flares up and spews out like a giant freaking energy creature that wants to kill everybody. Just imagine this is a good looking, scary energy creature. And the elementalist and druid are like, what did you do? And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I didn't do anything. I'm running from you. Well, you tried to kill me. Well, you tried to kill me first. Blah, 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 blah. And, like, of course, the guy's a wizard. The guy's a wizard. He ain't taking this crap no more. He ain't taking this crap from them. He ain't taking this crap from that monster. So he shoots a lightning bolt. And it's like, blam, boom, kaplow. And of course, the portal starts spewing out more energy, right? And it's like, it's more monsters and more little creatures. And more of this and more of that. And like the druid starts to feel a little bit of pain. And the elementalist is exhausted. I can't really make the sudden precise movements I want to make with this mouse. But you get my point. Like the druid and the elementalist are like tired and hurt, and they're like, well, this is your fault. Screw you, buddy. And he's like, oh, come on, I didn't do anything. And it's like, nope, screw you. So the guy here has to sit here and fight off all these energy creatures. Well, it works. For a little while. And like he's blasting energy creatures like all over the place, like bam, you're dead. Bam, this is dead. Bam, this is dead. Bam, bam, bam. Emerald Gusty kicking up a notch. Bam. And like eventually he gets the idea. It takes a minute because you know he's a guy and he's stupid and that's what guys are. And he's like, well, if I just launch a spell into the portal, it should stop the portal. Thus, they'll stop spawning. But the problem is, he's kind of tapped. So he has to go up to the portal and specifically notice that the writing on the portal is in dragon. And of course, he's a wizard. He knows what dragon writing is, because dragon writing is what spells are written in. And he's like, okay, this is a dragon portal. It must be reacting to the arcane energy inside me, because that's how it works. So what he does is he reads an inscription off of the portal and turns it off. And so with the portal deactivated, all the monsters go away. And the portal just sits there. And he keels over real bad. Like he is exhausted. You weren't meant to fight this hard, regardless of if you're a wizard or a barbarian or whatever. He's toast. He's down. He ain't getting back up. And if he does get back up, it's probably not going to be good. Just try and get as much blue off of the place as I can. So he's he's laying up against the portal oh, why did I do that to myself? Oh, I just wanted to live my life and be happy and peace without getting my butt kicked every 5 minutes because I'm different. Oh. Meanwhile, the Rune Seer and the leader get back to the hall. And when they get back to the hall, they see the elemental and the druid patching each other up, and they're like, wow, what happened to you two? It looks like you got into a fight. Did you go over there and try to close the portal? And they're like, no, that wizard guy showed up again. And I tried to attack him, and he blew me up with a fireball, and then we both got together, and we fought him, and we kicked his butt, and we kicked his butt all the way back to the portal. It's like, you kicked the wizard guy's butt back to the portal. Oh no! Who knows what he's gonna do, 'cause he's a man, and he's stupid. 'Cause he's a man. And they go back to the portal, only to find him laying there. At first they think he's dead, because, he is so tired. At first they think he's dead, but then they notice the portal turned off. Right? And they look around and, there's, bits of burnt around. This place has been struck with a lightning bolt. This place has been struck with a fireball. There's evidence that something went down here. And, the guy's not looking so hot. Let's face it, he ain't looking hot at all. He's about half HP, if not less. And he wakes up just as all four of them come down. These two haven't been fighting, so they're in the lead. And they're like, what did you do? And he's like, well, after you jackasses tried to kill me for the fourth time because I didn't know what was going on. You tried to kill me. You were a wolf. You tried to kill me. I told you not to come in the building. Well, I had to come into the building because it turns out that the wolf that tried to kill me was a person. And they all get into a shouting match over everything, but then the rune caster looks at the portal, and it's like, oh my god, the portal stopped. And the rune caster's like, hey, everybody shut up! You, wizard guy, did you turn off the portal? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, how'd you do it? And it's like, it's it's a draconic portal. And she's like, what do you mean draconic portal? And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's a draconic portal. It's a dragon portal. And she's like, dragons? I've been having dreams about dragons for weeks now. And like they told us that somebody with the power of a dragon would be able to turn off the portal. And it's like, well, I'm a magician. And like 90% of everything that has to do with magicians is based on dragon magic. And like we know how to read and speak dragon because it's all dragon magic. And it's like, well, that makes sense. Not. But you did stop the portal. And that was the problem we were trying to solve at the time. Why did you come back to the village, though? And he's like, to be honest, I got lost in the woods. And I just walked towards the thing that looked like a town. I didn't realize it was the same place. I'm sorry. Just give me some food and tell me where the next village is and I'll go there. And he tells them his whole sad backstory about leaving his village because he never felt okay in his village. And they're like, well, we need somebody who can speak dragon, and you know how to do that. We're a team member down because of what happened with the portal. And you, well, you're not exactly a warrior, but it looks like you'll do. And it's like, you can stay here with us, but don't touch anything, don't mess with anything, don't say anything, don't breathe in my direction, don't look in my direction. Whatever you do, don't do anything ever at any time for any reason. And he's like, okay, fine. So now that they have a person who can work the portal, the next job is to figure out what to do with the portal to actually get back the five masters that taught all of these people how to be barbarians in the first place. Okay, now you're all caught up with the story. So next time, we'll actually get into what happened.